Well, here we go. Pink eye and all. What if I told you there was a deer cartridge? Now, this is all true story, but I want you to try to guess at what it is. Fantastic cartridge. I mean, fantastic. Okay? Do anything you ever wanted to do within reason. Okay? Bullet, 140 grain bullet, leaves the barrel at a muzzle velocity of just about 3,000 feet a second. And if you hand load, definitely 3,000 feet a second. Fantastic. But there's a problem. The ball was dropped. The ball was dropped. How's that? Well, I think this is the biggest mistake that Remington ever made. Now that might clue you in a little to what we're talking about. 30-06 was a big deal. Soon after the 30-06 came out, a lot of people started wildcatting it. They made the 270. Pretty darn good. One of the top deer rifles out there. They made the 25-06. Darn near perfect as a deer rifle. Then they made this other one. Now here's where the problem started. Because it had a name. It was called the 7mm .06. Any closer on that guess? So this 7mm .06 was doing fantastic. Hand loaders all over the place, knocking down deer, nice accurate cartridge. And Remington said, hey, you know what? We ought to put our name on this and we're going to start selling it. But instead of calling it the 7mm .06, like some people would say the 7mm .08, which was just fine as a name, for Winchester. Was it Winchester? I don't know. Maybe Remington. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you. But they came out with the name 280. 280 Remington. Now, 280 Remington is a good name because it's what? It's one better than a 270. And on paper, it is a little bit better than a 270. It shoots a 140 grain bullet just about as fast as a 270 shoots 130 grain. So you've got a little bit heavier bullet doing the same thing. So what does Remington do? Well, it brings out that bullet in one of the worst rifles they made. The semi-accurate, semi-working 740 Remington. Not a good idea. Then they brought it out in the 760 and okay, that 760 Game Master, guy shot a lot of deer with it out east, no problem. But again, it's reasonably accurate, but it's not super accurate. Well, after a time, they brought it out in the 721 and later the 725, which eventually became the Remington 700. But you know what? Sales were slow. They couldn't figure out why. Then they decided to rename that same cartridge for a third time. And they named it the 7mm Express. Okay, you already had a 7mm Magnum. You're competing with the 270, which came out 25 years before this one. And now, Express. Well, I know what an Express rifle is. It's for buffaloes and stuff like that, and elephants with the tusks and all that, right? Express rifles, Africa. Burly men with shorts on. No, it wasn't an Express anything, because they already had the 7mm Remington Magnum. All it does is add confusion, especially when a guy goes in the store and says, I want some 280 Remington, and doesn't know that that box of 7mm Express is the same exact friggin' bullet. It's the exact bullet you need. Okay, it's the cartridge. It's the same. There's no change. So then you add the confusion. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Hey, if you own a 7mm Express, 280 Remington, or 7mm .6, whatever you want to call it, get back to me. Tell me how you like it, because my guess is you like it just fine because it's a really good rifle.